Tomorrow the gate would open. Men would rush forward with blades raised. He would have to step forward too. And every part of him wanted to disappear. Jubit lowered his voice. "Master, how do I stop feeling afraid?" The old man didn't look at him right away. His eyes rested on the training ground, on the scuffed earth where others had once stood exactly where Jubit stood now. Young, tense, breathing too fast. "You don't," the master said at last. "Fear will stay with you until your final breath." Jubit's stomach dropped. "But," the master continued, "I can teach you how to live as if fear has no authority." That distinction mattered more than Jubit understood. Most people believe courage means fearlessness. They imagine warriors as hollowed-out beings, immune to doubt, untouched by panic. That fantasy comforts us because it lets us believe courage is something you either have or don't. If you feel fear, you assume you're disqualified. But the truth is more uncomfortable and more hopeful. Fear has never been the enemy. Obedience to fear is. That lesson took Marcus Rivera 32 years to stumble into. From the outside, his life looked fine. Stable job, clean apartment, respectable career, nothing visibly broken. Inside, everything felt tight, constricted, like he was living in a room that grew smaller every year, though no one else noticed the walls closing in. Marcus didn't suffer from dramatic terror. No panic attacks in public. No obvious meltdowns. Just a constant low-grade anxiety that turned simple actions into exhausting calculations. Should I say something? What if I sound stupid? What if they judge me? What if I mess it up? So he stayed quiet. At work, his ideas died in his throat. He watched less capable people speak with confidence while he rehearsed silently, waiting for the right moment that never came. Meetings ended. Opportunities passed. Relief followed, then regret. Avoidance always feels like relief at first. That's how it hooks you. Outside of work, the pattern continued. Invitations declined. Messages left unanswered. Possibilities postponed. Marcus told himself he was busy, tired, practical. In truth, he was managing fear the only way he knew how, by shrinking his life around it. And the cruel part? It worked, temporarily. Every avoided call lowered his heart rate. Every declined invitation spared him discomfort. His nervous system learned quickly. Avoidance equals safety. So it asked for more. Fear is not irrational. It is efficient. Years passed like this. Nothing catastrophic happened. That was the problem. There was no dramatic failure to force change. Just a slow erosion of self-trust. A quiet grief for the person he might have been. The warning didn't arrive as a crisis. It arrived as a conversation. His boss wasn't angry. He was honest. The company needed more than competence now. Visibility mattered. Leadership mattered. Presence mattered. Marcus nodded, already retreating inward. That night, alone in his apartment, he took stock. The same apartment he'd lived in for years because the idea of moving felt overwhelming. The same routines. The same safe boundaries. He counted what fear had cost him. Unanswered messages. Missed connections. Opportunities quietly buried under maybe later. Every door that required courage remained closed. And the longer they stayed closed, the heavier they felt. When his father used the word hiding, it cut deeper than any accusation. Because Marcus knew the truth immediately. He wasn't unlucky. He wasn't broken. He was obedient. Fear spoke. He complied. That realization hurt, but it also cracked something open. For the first time, Marcus didn't ask, "How do I get rid of fear?" He asked, "What if fear isn't supposed to leave?" The number from Japan sat on his phone like a challenge. Calling it felt absurdly difficult. His body reacted as if danger were imminent. His mind generated excuses with impressive creativity. You can do this later. You don't need help. This is embarrassing. All familiar voices. But something had shifted. Not confidence. Not bravery. Just exhaustion. A deep weariness of living small. He pressed call. That decision, made with shaking hands, was the first act of courage Marcus had taken in years. Not because the fear was gone, but because he acted without waiting for it to disappear. The old master would later explain that warriors were never trained to suppress fear. They were trained to move forward while fear screamed. Most people don't realize this. Fear always feels urgent. It demands immediate compliance. It frames itself as wisdom, as protection, as common sense. But urgency is not truth. Anxiety convinces you that relief is the same as safety. That retreat is intelligence. That waiting is preparation. And so people wait. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel fearless. They wait their lives away. Jubit listened as the master spoke, his heartbeat loud in his ears. Fear will visit you tomorrow, the master said. It will tell you to run. It will tell you you are not ready. It will feel convincing. Then what do I do? Jubit asked. The master finally turned to him. You move. Not boldly, not perfectly, not without fear. You move anyway. And that, though most people never hear it, is where courage actually begins. The night before the first call, Marcus barely slept. His body acted as if danger were approaching. Jaw clenched, chest tight, thoughts looping. It made no sense to him. He wasn't facing violence or loss or humiliation. Just a phone call. 30 seconds. A stranger. A question with no wrong answer. And yet his nervous system didn't care about logic. That was the first thing Marcus didn't yet understand. Fear does not respond to reasoning. It responds to patterns. His entire adult life had trained one pattern deeply: avoidance. Avoid discomfort. Avoid exposure. Avoid risk. Each avoided moment had been logged by his brain as proof. Good choice. You survived because you didn't act. So when the master's instruction echoed in his mind, make one phone call, his system rebelled. This is pointless. This won't change anything. You're embarrassing yourself. The voice wasn't loud. It was calm, persuasive. It sounded like common sense. Fear rarely sounds dramatic. It sounds reasonable. Marcus stared at his phone for almost 10 minutes before dialing. His thumb hovered. His breathing sped up. His mind searched desperately for justification to stop. Then something subtle happened. He noticed the urge to escape. Not the fear itself, but the pull toward relief. That pull was familiar. It was the same pull that had guided thousands of decisions before this one. Hang up. Delay. Cancel. Opt out. For the first time, Marcus didn't follow it automatically. The call connected. His voice shook. His words came out slightly rushed. The employee answered politely, gave the information, and moved on with their life. No judgment. No humiliation. No consequence. Marcus hung up and sat there, stunned. Nothing happened. His body, however, didn't relax immediately. His hands trembled. His heart took time to slow. Fear lingered, confused, like an alarm still ringing after the fire had already gone out. That night, Marcus didn't feel proud. He didn't feel brave. He felt something quieter, disoriented. The fear had promised catastrophe. Reality delivered neutrality. That gap mattered. The ancient system the master followed was built entirely around exploiting that gap. Most people believe fear is predictive, that it tells you what will happen. In reality, fear is historical. It predicts the future using fragments of the past, often distorted, often outdated. Marcus's fear wasn't reacting to a phone call. It was reacting to an old memory, a frozen presentation, a moment of exposure years ago that had never been reprocessed. His nervous system didn't know time had passed, so it reacted as if the threat were still present. The second day was worse, not because the fear was stronger, but because Marcus knew what was coming. Anticipation amplified everything. His brain replayed the sensation of the first call and tried to preemptively avoid it. You already proved your point. You don't need to do this again. That argument felt convincing, but Marcus remembered something the master had said. One action proves nothing. Repetition trains everything. So he dialed again. Same fear, same racing heart, same outcome. Nothing happened. By the fourth day, something interesting emerged, not comfort, but familiarity. The fear showed up on schedule. His body reacted, but the surprise was gone. Fear thrives on novelty. When something becomes predictable, its power weakens. This was not confidence. Confidence implies belief in success. Marcus didn't believe the calls would go well. He believed something more practical. He believed he would survive. That belief was new. Most people don't realize this, but courage is not built by success. It's built by survivability. The nervous system doesn't need a win. It needs proof that discomfort is tolerable. Every call was a small act of defiance against the old rule. Fear means stop. By the end of the first week, Marcus noticed a shift. The fear still arrived, but it no longer escalated into full catastrophe. His mind stopped racing ahead. He wasn't rehearsing imaginary disasters anymore. Fear had lost its imagination. This is how ancient warriors trained their minds, not by eliminating fear, but by stripping it of its authority. Fear could speak. It just couldn't decide. Most modern approaches to anxiety focus on control. Control your breathing. Control your thoughts. Control your environment. The ancient approach focused on something else entirely. Direction. You don't need calm to move forward. You need a direction that doesn't change when fear appears. The master explained this later using words Marcus didn't forget. When fear arises, he said, most people turn inward. They analyze. They negotiate. They argue with themselves. That turns fear into the center of the experience. What should I do instead? Marcus asked. You act outward. Small. Specific. Non-negotiable. That was the rule Marcus was following without fully realizing it. One call. Every day. No evaluation. No emotional check-in. No decision-making. Action first. Meaning later. By day 10, something unexpected happened. Marcus began to trust himself again. Not in a grand way. Not suddenly fearless. But he trusted that when he told himself he would do something, he would follow through, even if it was uncomfortable. That trust had been missing for years. Anxiety doesn't just create fear. It creates self-distrust. You stop believing in your own capacity to handle discomfort. You begin to see yourself as fragile. Each completed call repaired a tiny piece of that fracture. By day 14, pride arrived not as excitement, but as solidity. A quiet sense of weight in his chest that felt grounding instead of constricting. When Marcus returned to the dojo, the master didn't congratulate him. He didn't celebrate. He simply nodded. You have learned the first rule, he said. Marcus waited. Fear responds to consistency, not force. Most people try to overpower fear with big gestures, grand declarations, dramatic confrontations. They burn themselves out and conclude they've failed. The ancient method was slower and far more effective. Small actions, repeated daily, just beyond comfort, never overwhelming, never avoided. This was how warriors prepared for battle, not by imagining victory, but by proving again and again that fear did not get the final word. And Marcus was only at the beginning. The master poured tea slowly, deliberately. No movement was wasted. Marcus noticed that even now, after 2 weeks of daily fear, his body responded to the stillness in the room. His breathing softened without effort. "You think you are training courage," the master said, "but what you are really training is your relationship with discomfort." Marcus didn't fully understand what that meant yet. From the outside, the change in his life looked insignificant. 14 phone calls, no promotions, no dramatic breakthroughs, no transformation anyone could point to and say, "There, that's it." Inside, however, something fundamental had shifted. Fear no longer felt like a verdict, felt like weather, unpleasant, unpredictable, temporary. This was dangerous knowledge, dangerous in the best way. Because once you understand that fear can exist without controlling you, it becomes impossible to unknow. The master explained what most people never notice. Anxiety is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that something meaningful is nearby. The body doesn't distinguish between threat and importance. It simply reacts to uncertainty. That's why fear appears before growth. Most people interpret that reaction as a warning. Warriors interpret it as confirmation. Marcus thought about his life through that lens. Every place he'd avoided was also a place where something mattered. Speaking up, being seen, risking connection. The fear hadn't been random. It had been directional. But because he'd obeyed it for so long, his world had narrowed. Avoidance always works in the short term. It fails catastrophically in the long term. The master described it simply: each time you avoid discomfort, you teach your mind that you are incapable. Each time you act, you teach it the opposite. Marcus felt a quiet anger rise, not at the fear, but at the years he'd surrendered to it without question. "What about bigger fears?" Marcus asked. "Phone calls are one thing, but what about things that actually matter?" The master's expression didn't change, especially those. He explained that the nervous system doesn't understand categories like small or big. It understands familiarity. What feels overwhelming is simply what you have not practiced. This was where most people went wrong. They waited until something felt manageable before acting. But manageability is not a prerequisite. It is a consequence. The ancient method did not begin with the hardest challenge. It began with the smallest possible action that still triggered fear. That detail mattered. Fear cannot be reasoned with, but it can be conditioned. Exposure, when done gradually and consistently, rewrites the nervous system's expectations. This wasn't philosophy. It was physiology. Marcus began expanding the practice. Not dramatically, carefully. He asked one question in a meeting. His voice shook. Nothing happened. He survived. He spoke twice the next week. The fear didn't vanish, but it no longer escalated into paralysis. His body reacted. His mind protested. And then the moment passed. Each exposure shortened fear's lifespan. This was the part no one talks about. Courage doesn't feel empowering in the moment. It feels uncomfortable and anticlimactic. The reward comes later, quietly, when your world starts expanding again. Opportunities didn't suddenly flood in. But Marcus noticed something subtler. He stopped lying to himself. He stopped saying, "I can't," when he meant, "I'm afraid." That honesty alone was liberating. The master warned him about a common trap: mistaking comfort for progress. When fear decreases, people often stop practicing. They assume the work is done. But fear is patient. It waits for neglect. The system the master taught was not a temporary intervention. It was a way of living, a rule that applied regardless of circumstance. Act in the presence of fear, not the absence of it. That principle changed everything. Marcus noticed fear before presentations, before conversations, before decisions. And instead of asking, "How do I calm down?" he asked a better question. What is the smallest action that moves me forward? Sometimes that action was speaking one sentence. Sometimes it was sending one message. Sometimes it was simply staying present instead of escaping. Each time, the fear followed the same pattern. Arrival, protest, fade. Fear was loud but brief when it wasn't fed. Most people never learn this because they spend their lives trying to eliminate fear before acting. The ancient method inverted the order. Action first, relief later. Over time, Marcus noticed that fear no longer dictated his identity. He stopped thinking of himself as an anxious person. He started thinking of himself as someone who acted despite discomfort. That shift was subtle but profound. Identity follows behavior, not intention. The master explained this using an old metaphor. A river doesn't carve stone by force, but by persistence. One drop does nothing. 10,000 change the landscape. Anxiety is the same. It is eroded not by confrontation, but by repetition. Marcus was no longer chasing courage. He was building it. And for the first time, the future didn't feel like something to survive. It felt like something to step into. The master watched Marcus walk across the courtyard. His posture was different now. Not confident in the way movies portray confidence. No dramatic stride, no bravado. Just steadier, less pulled inward. "You no longer ask permission from fear," the master said. Marcus hadn't noticed it until that moment. But it was true. Fear still appeared. Before meetings, before conversations, before decisions that mattered. The sensation hadn't disappeared. What had disappeared was the pause. That pause, the moment where fear used to negotiate, was gone. Most people believe anxiety is the problem. They structure their lives around avoiding it, managing it, minimizing it. In doing so, they give it power. They allow it to decide where they go, what they try, who they become. The ancient method never attempted to defeat fear. It rendered fear irrelevant. This is what the immovable mind truly meant. Not a frozen mind, not emotional numbness, but a mind that continues in its chosen direction regardless of internal noise. Marcus understood now why so many modern approaches failed him. They focused on internal control, thoughts, feelings, sensations. But fear does not need to be controlled to lose power. It needs to be disobeyed. Fear is persuasive only when it is obeyed. The master explained that courage is not a personality trait. It is a behavioral pattern, one that can be trained, weakened, or lost depending on how it is used. Every avoided action strengthens fear. Every completed action weakens it. There is no neutral ground. That realization was sobering. It meant courage was not something Marcus could earn once and keep forever. It required maintenance, practice, daily participation, but it also meant he was never powerless again. Fear could appear on his worst day, in his weakest moment, and the rule would still apply. One step forward, one small action, no negotiation. The ancient warriors lived by this because they had to. Waiting to feel ready on a battlefield was not an option. Action came first. Emotion followed. Modern life is different, but the nervous system is the same. Marcus saw now how anxiety had shaped his past, not as a flaw but as a feedback loop. Fear led to avoidance. Avoidance led to temporary relief. Relief reinforced fear. The loop tightened. The ancient method broke the loop at its weakest point: behavior. Not thoughts, not feelings, action. As months passed, Marcus's life expanded quietly. He led meetings. He spoke without rehearsing every sentence. He reached out instead of retreating. Fear still visited, but it no longer stayed. He didn't become fearless. He became practiced. And that distinction changed everything. Most people spend their lives trying to eliminate anxiety before living fully. The ancient method flips the equation. You live fully first, and anxiety adapts. Fear is not eliminated by understanding. It is eliminated by evidence. Evidence that you can act. Evidence that you can endure. Evidence that discomfort does not destroy you. That evidence is built only one way, through repetition. This is why courage feels rare. Not because it is inaccessible, but because it is unglamorous. It is built in private moments, quiet decisions, small actions no one applauds. But those moments compound. The master gave Marcus one final reminder before he left. When fear returns, and it will, do not ask how to make it stop. Ask what direction you have chosen. That question was enough. Fear could scream. The body could shake. The mind could doubt. Movement would still happen. That is the ancient method. Not the removal of fear, but the removal of its authority. If this resonated, leave a comment with courage and name the smallest action you've been avoiding. You don't need a breakthrough. You need a step taken today.